Hello, everyone. Am I glitching? No, I'm not. Hold on. Let's get this out of there. There you go. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. I am Christopher. This is the Bloody Battle Road of the Revolution History Traveler, episode 262. I like the channel. I haven't seen some of his videos in a while. I am subscribed. If you can click that thumbs up for me, that helps out tremendously. You can subscribe to my channel or his. Still, not the same if you pass up on me and go to him, but okay. And then you can donate to the channel through the thanks button. He has one too. Just click there, donate. And if you do donate and you request a video, your name sponsors that video. I just did a video yesterday. I'm in the way from History Rebels, and I covered the American Revolution. I saw this one pop up on my feed, and I thought, okay, well, he actually kind of goes through the battlefield. So let's do it and get to that video right now.
Well, right now, I am standing in Concord, Massachusetts at the historic North Bridge, where the famed shot that was heard around the world was first fired. So in the past few episodes, we've been talking about the battles at Lexington and Concord, which kicked off the American Revolution. Well, the fighting didn't end right here at the North Bridge or even in Concord. There was a whole lot of shooting that was going to be taking place between here and Boston as the British were trying to get back to their home base, as literally hundreds into thousands of colonials here in this area were pouring out of the hills and firing on them. So today, we're going to kind of trace the battle road from here back towards Boston. I'm getting ready to leave the Concord battlefield, but before I leave, somebody is going to have a cold hand this winter. So if you lost a purple glove here at the Concord battlefield, well, I'm going to leave it right here. It's on this bench right next to the visitor center. Okay, now I mentioned how the British retreat back to Boston was kind of a run and gun fight. This is going to be a bit of a run and gun filming episode. We're basically going to just hit the major sites where the British frankly got thrashed on the way back to Boston, because I'm running really short on time. So we're going to hop in the rental vehicle, which this time happens to be an electric car. It's the first time I've ever driven one of these. And anyway, trace the path of the British back to Boston as they were getting swarmed by the colonials. All right, I actually haven't moved very far yet. Right here, this is a house that I briefly showed in the last episode. This is the old man's house. This was where like Nathaniel Hawthorne lived, and Ralph Waldo Emerson, and during the time of the battle, his grandfather lived here. The North Bridge is just on the other side of this house. And right here at this house, well, this is where a blacksmith by the name of Elisha Jones would have lived. And during the retreat, the British were coming back up here away from the North Bridge, and Elisha Jones had been standing at the doorway of his shed watching all of the events unfold, and some dang British soldier decided to take a pot shot at him as he was standing there in the doorway. Now you'll notice,
Well, to be fair, you're being chased down by, I'm glitching again. Oh man. You're being chased down by colonials. You don't know, after a while, you're not picking friend from foe, friend from foe. Friend from foe. And you're not going to ask, hey, do you have a weapon? Are you trying to kill me? You just see one and you shoot. So to be fair, probably not the best thing to be standing outside going, what's going on, fellas?
on that home, which this is a private residence, so I'm not getting up close to it, there's a shutter missing around that window, and if you'll look closely, there's a little diamond shape that is cut out of the facade. Well, that is where the bullet struck. And then I guess he ran inside, and the British kept heading that way. Well, I've moved just to the east of Concord, maybe a mile or so, and I'm right here along the road that connects Concord to Boston. And you have to keep in mind, the first engagement with the British had occurred at about 5 o'clock in the morning in Lexington. The battle at the North Bridge was around 9:30 in the morning. Well, by 12:30, when the British are moving through this area, in this spot that is known as Merriam's Corner, word had already
Sorry about that.
gone out all over the countryside, and people had grabbed their muskets and were descending on this road. And right here, the British were going to start getting hit really hard. If you've visited any Civil War battle sites like Gettysburg or Antietam, I'm sure that you are familiar with witness trees, trees that were alive and standing during the time of the battle. Well, this is a witness house. This is the house of Nathan Merriam. And right here, where this etched stone lies, well, this is where the house of Josiah Merriam would have stood. Now, Concord is west in this direction right here along this road. So you would have had the British coming back this way, moving to the east, and they're going to hit a choke point right here. There's a little bridge that stands right there. I don't know, we may go take a look at it here in just a second. And what is going to happen is the British regulars are going to be forced to pull in their flank guard so that they can march across this bridge. Well, some of the Minutemen showed up here just in time to hit the British rear guard, and they were hiding behind these houses and fired right into the British. It's thought that this is the first offensive part of the war. The actions at Concord would be considered defensive because the British fired first. Here, the American colonists fired first. So I've moved just a little bit here at Merriam's Corner, and right out here you can see the bridge that kind of formed a funnel for the British. And there was a man who fought here by the name of Reverend Edmund Foster. He was in Captain Brooks' company with the Minutemen. And he is quoted as saying, as soon as the British had gained the main road and had passed a small bridge near that corner, so the one that we're looking at right now, they faced about suddenly and fired a volley of musketry upon us. So they would have fired off to our left here, where the Merriam houses were. He continues on. He says they overshot and no one, to my knowledge, was injured by the fire. The fire was immediately returned by the Americans, and 2 British soldiers fell dead at a distance from each other in the road near the brook. So there are a couple of British soldiers who are reportedly going to be killed right here. And if we look, well, we have a marker stating that they are buried right here in this area. So we don't know exactly where, and there's been some speculation as to how many, but it's generally agreed upon now that there are 2 British soldiers who were killed right here in this spot and are buried near here. All right, we're gonna go ahead and move on.
I always find it very honorable and respectful to bury the dead, even if it's not your dead. And I'm going to guess that the colonists did that, but they probably did it for the stink. You know, the houses nearby don't want to smell that, obviously. So it's more for their own thing. But the fact that they did bury it, I think is I always appreciate that. I think it's very nice. It's respectful.
We've had to make a departure from the main road, and I've had to do a little bit of hiking here. So there's a spot along the road between Concord and Boston where the road kind of hooks off to the left and then hooks back to the right and makes a bit of an angle. And as the British regulars rather, were making their way along this road, well, what they would have found is they were entering into a bit of a woodlot. And this place, which is going to become known as the Bloody Angle for a reason, is where the British regulars are going to sustain their heaviest casualties along the battle road. So imagine for a moment that you are a British soldier. You've just come up the hill after having had a scrap at Miriam's Corner, and now you're here on this angle in the road, and you're entering into this woodlot. And all of a sudden, things are about to go from bad to worse. There was a British officer, a lieutenant by the name of William Sutherland, that gave an account of what happened here. He says, I'm going to just paraphrase what he said. He said, upon getting up here to the heights, he looks off to his right and he sees what he estimated to be 1,000 militiamen and minutemen coming out of the woods and dispersing and closing in on their flanking parties. And then as they are engaging them, well, off to the left, here comes some more. He says, some shot from the left hand drew his attention. And he says, that way, when I saw a much larger body drawn up to the left. Okay, so you're getting hit from the right, if you're the British. And then all of a sudden, musket balls start flying from the left from an even larger party that is coming up from that direction. So these poor guys were literally running the gauntlet right here through the Bloody Angle. And again, as we approach the bend of the Bloody Angle, well, we see another marker here. It says, near here are buried British soldiers. And it's really not for certain how many died here. Maybe around 8, maybe less, maybe more. Probably 2 or 3 times that wounded. But yeah, this was a fatal funnel for the British as they were trying to get the heck out of here. All right, I've moved just east of the Bloody Angle to this structure right here. This is the Hartwell Tavern, and I've made it sound so far probably like this is just a big British bloodbath all the way from Concord to Boston. There were some colonials who were also killed along this route. So right here around the tavern, there were 3 who were killed, one of which was Jonathan Wilson. He was the captain for the town of Bedford. So anyway, there's some casualties on the colonial side as well, but most of the damage is going to be sustained by the British. All right, we're going to go ahead and move on down to the next site now. Before I go to the next spot, holy smokes, look at this tree. Looks like it's on fire. I don't think I've seen a tree with this kind of color outside of those flame trees in Saipan. That is something else. This is why fall is the best time of year and why summer is awful. That is something else. This has nothing to do with history, but it is dumb and I do want to complain. So I mentioned that this is an electric car. Well, at the rental place, for the first time in my entire life, they asked me if I wanted to prepay for gas. I knew that I was going to be cutting it close when I fly out, so I agreed. And then they gave me an electric car. So I'm going to have to see if I can get my money back for the tank of gas that I'll never use. Oh, I'll tell you what, old JD is getting his steps in today. What the heck is going on here? Have a big old tree fall down? Yep, dadgum. I'll bet you that thing made a thump whenever it crashed. Huh. Oh, well, there's a pond here, so maybe it made a thump and a splash. Well, again, if you are a British soldier, by this point, you know well and good that you have thrown a rock at a hornet's nest. And the maddest hornets are probably going to be the ones that you shot at the very beginning of the day. So the Lexington militia under Parker kind of regrouped, and they were looking to get some revenge. You can't take muskets and poke holes in all of your townsmen and not expect people to be a little bit mad. And right here in this area, this place is known as Parker's Revenge. All right, we're gonna walk up here to the approximate position where Parker and his men set up. Now, this would have been probably around 1:30 or so.
Is it Parker that I'm thinking of that was wounded? I don't remember, but I'm glitching and I really don't like that.
When Parker and the men from the Lexington militia, and they were also joined by another local militia, trying to think of who that was, Cambridge. It was the Cambridge militia, showed up and joined them. And of course, the battle road is behind me. Let's just shoot up here real quick. Parker and the Lexington militia and the Cambridge militia got up here on the high ground. And as the British regulars are making their way along the battle road, well, the guys who had lost 8 men who were killed earlier in the day on Lexington Green, well, they were going to get a chance to fire a few shots back from right here. So I've just moved east from the area of Parker's Revenge, and while the flanking elements of the British regulars were engaging with Parker's men, the lead elements made their way along the battle road. And let me move up here. They would have marched right by this place right here. This is the Jacob Whitmore house. Jacob Whitmore lived here with his wife. I think her name was Esther, and he had a daughter named Sarah and a son-in-law named Moses that lived with him. Moses was actually a part of the Lexington militia, but his wife was really ill following a childbirth that had happened like a week or two before. So they ended up leaving this house and hiding in a woodlot, which I get it. I understand why they would do that and why Moses would want to stay with his wife. He later joined the Colonial Army and served in the American Revolution. But you know, these British guys had to just be worn out. It's 1:30, 2 o'clock. They've been shot at all day long. And there's one more spot up here that we're going to take a look at where
they started their, the British started their march, I think, at midnight, and they didn't make it back until after 7 p.m. You're running and shooting, basically, and marching. So, yeah. I mean, that's not a pleasant day. Your adrenaline's up and down. Yeah, I mean, you're exhausted.
They kind of make their last stand before going back to Boston. All right, so I've moved probably 500 or 600 yards beyond the Whitmore house, which is off in that direction. And again, the British are coming this direction. They're moving to the east. And we've had a bloody angle along the battle road. And now we get a bloody bluff. So this is obviously a pretty prominent piece of high ground, and I'm right here by a road. Obviously, you can hear the road noise. And this is where the British were going to kind of rally up and provide a little bit of a rear guard action to hold off all of these crazy colonials that are coming out of the woods and shooting at them. And if you see right here at the base of the bluff, there's a monument that says this bluff was used as a rallying point by the British April 19th, 1775. After a sharp fight, they retreated to Fisk Hill, from which they were driven in great confusion. So right here at this bluff, really this area is where a lot of the major fighting on April 19th is going to end. I do need to say one quick thing. This is not how the bluff would have looked in 1775. There's been, over the years, throughout the 1800s and I think even into the early 1900s, this was, blasted and it was quarried and has been chipped away. So it doesn't look exactly like it did during the opening days of the Revolution. But we can kind of get an idea of what happened here on April 19th. So I've moved just a little bit down from the bluff right here. And once more, we have another grave marker indicating that close to here is buried another British soldier who almost made it out that day. He was very close to the end, but evidently was killed or mortally wounded right here by the bluff. Between the bluff here and Lexington, what had started off as an organized retreat becomes a disorganized rout, as these poor men who are just facing withering fire from all sides are just fighting for survival. As a matter of fact, the commander of this British element, Lieutenant Colonel Smith, he is going to be wounded in between here and Lexington. And once they reach Lexington, well, there was a relief element of 1,000 British soldiers along with 2 cannon. And what had started with a volley of fire on Lexington Green.
Was Smith who I said got injured? Or was I talking about the Patriot? I don't remember. I'm already lost as to what I said earlier.
And continued with a fight at the North Bridge on Concord, and had been chaotic along the battle road throughout the day of April 19th, was going to be the very start of an 8-year struggle between the strongest empire in the world and one of their unruly colonies.
he say what the next one is? No, he does not say. Okay. Well, I hope you enjoyed it. I'll check around to see what the next one is and what the one was before that. But this just popped up on my feed. So, anyways, I think it's because I did the Lexington and Concord from History Rebel. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, have a good day, have a good night.